So yesterday, hooked onto the fuzzy board. So if you didn't choose an animal and use the white transfer paper to transfer what to do today. Step one then is to shade using black and white charcoal. Now, we've been working with the charcoal and you've had kind of a variety of charcoals in your bin. And there are three different types of charcoal that we have. Pencils, white and black. We have these smaller charcoal sticks, both white and black. And then we also have the pastel, and those are the bigger, like chunkier white and black. And it's these that we've had the colors out for. Bigger square pastels, or right now I have just the white and the black charcoal, are over on the counter over there in all of the color bins. And those are also the ones that have been at your table in the little plastic set things. In terms of like texture and working with pastels, these like bigger, chunkier ones are the ones that have, whether I'm talking about like the black and the white or the colors, right? These like bigger, chunkier ones have the softest texture, okay? So they're the softest. They work really well for laying down bigger, like mass. So, and then the other thing you want to think about really specifically, because we're dealing with animals, so we're dealing with either fur or feathers, is you want to be really conscious of the way you're putting the pastel down into the fuzzy board and paying really close attention to like directional characteristics of your animal. So if I'm looking at my chicken here, and I'm looking at like kind of the way finer layer of like more decorative feathers that are kind of at the top, right? And here, these like kind of larger feathers. So I'm going to think about working with the softer pastel, and then remember it's always black and white to start with. So this little bit of shadow. So I'm going to like start first with a little bit of black. And I'm looking at the direction that the feathers go as I'm putting my pastel on the board, right? I don't want to just shade side to side, line side to side, because that will be the texture then that I'm left with, and it won't look like others later. But even these, like I can use them, and I can think about like making like kind of some of those feathery marks that are actually here. And you can see that as I do that, I'm leaving that kind of a feathery distinction even here on my drawing. Like I have that like layered effect now from the end of the pastel. And that works really well with these like softer ones. In terms of like increasing levels of like density or like control. So soft works really well for bigger areas. As we start to think about fin, so like if I look back at this chicken that's a little bit more finished, right? You can see that like some of the smaller details like in the face or up even here in where the feathers are smaller, I've gotten a different texture because smaller sticks. The smaller sticks have a harder texture. They feel that right when you touch them, that these feels really soft and chalky. These feel firmer, almost more like a colored pencil stick. And I have these in color as well. So I have all three formats in both black and white and color. So I have sets of these colorful sticks, kind of harder texture. You get a little bit more control. They work really well for detail areas rather than larger color lay-in. So I like to work first with the big ones because they're softer, a little faster to put in the color, making sure to think about textural elements. As I work with things that are more detailed, like the little foot, I'm moving on to these a little bit stiffer chalks. The final like level of detail will get added with pencil because I have the most control, obviously, smaller point, right? So tiny things like eyes. And, like I said before, I also have these couple of different brands of pencils. They're in colors. So as you move to the color step today, these other formats for pastel will be over on this. Put away the sets of these big guys. The big guys are the ones that you can put your colors in a Ziploc baggie. And those colors and the Ziploc baggies are over there on the counter. The sets, they're all brand new. I just ordered them, okay? So you'll see they're all brand new. Please, yes, John, don't ruin them. Please don't like take a couple of these and put them in your Ziploc baggie. Take a set of either of these. Like I have some used guys, but I also have all new sets of these. Of either the pencils or the pastels, please put all of them back in that set. Like don't mix and match. If your neighbor has a set, don't put 3 greens back in one because you know, if this is mine, I'm going to just use these and I'm just going to put them back in here. That way they sort of all stay organized. So don't take like a purple out of here and put it in your Ziploc baggie. You're welcome to put the other colors in your Ziploc baggie like these guys. Ones you want to like leave in the sets. Okay, so let's pretend I'm this far, right, on my chicken and now adding some color. Remember yesterday we talked about using a color scheme. So that's kind of your first thing before you just start randomly coloring. Remember, we're going to go back to these 4 choices. You may choose monochromatic, which is one color, and black and white. That is the simplest of them, right? Because I'm at the black and white place right now. If I decide I'm going to make a purple chicken, it is purple, and I just add the purple into the black and white so that black and white anymore. It's purple with tints and shades. Once you get to the colored stage, you do have to kind of go back sometimes. You have to go back and refine sometimes over the top with your black and your white as well. So it's kind of a back and forth process. The other 3 choices for color scheme are complementary, an analogous color scheme, or a triadic color scheme. On the back of this eyeball sheet, we have the definitions for all 4 and using the color wheel as reference, okay? So making sure that you're choosing that color scheme. And then, like I said, if you want to grab specific colors and throw them in a baggie so that you kind of can hang on to them, that's great. So you don't want to move on to color until your black and white is done. I have a color one started. It's like one of these wacky cooking shows, right? So you can see I have added, I'm working with complementary colors. So you can see I'm working with orange and blue. So you can see I'm putting the blues in where the shadows are. And I have just started this process of adding in the color to this black and white. So you can see that I can take my colored pastel and I can go right over the top of the white that I have on the, or the black that I've put on there already, which is impossible to see on this black map board. But is there. And then I can go back as I need to and add more details. So in this case, you know, because I'm using blue where the darks are, I can go back and I can add some of my shadows back in with this blue. I'll probably have to go back and kind of deepen them a little bit with the black. But that will give me that complementary color combination that I had planned on working with. And you can, that it will also, because I've got the black and white shading underneath, that black and white is going to continue to show through. I can also go back and refine. So as I want to finish this and my chicken has, like I said, all this great like fine feather texture here, I can go back with either the firmer pastel stick or the pastel pencil, and I can add back some of that like texture after I've applied the color with those softer, larger pastels. All right, and I can also do the same with the black, so like looking at where some of those darker black areas are, so that now my chicken is both shaded and colorful all at the same time, okay? Hopefully that helps kind of clarify the process. So if we were to look at that, we've got the outline, phase 1, Phase 2 is add in your color scheme colors. Does any questions?